Hello audience, this is ELT, Chairman ELT and Head of Linguistics, BAETTA Bangladesh. Welcome to Language Skills Testing, Evaluation and Assessment course. Module 19B, Steps of Test Construction Part 2. As a part of MA in English, ELT, TEFL and TEFL programs, in this module, I will talk about Step 2 in construction of a good or standardized test in details. This is a very important topic in language skills testing, evaluation and assessment course. So, this video is very significant to you. Let's get started. Introduction. In my previous video 19A on language skills testing, evaluation and assessment course, I have discussed Step 1, planning the test to test construction. Now, let's learn about Step 2 in construction of a good or standardized test. Test construction Step 2, preparing the test. The next step after the finalization of the blueprint is writing appropriate questions in accordance with the broad parameters set out in the blueprint. One should take one small block of the blueprint at a time and write out the required questions. Thus, for each block of blueprint which is filled in, questions have got to be written on by one. Once it's done, we have all the questions meeting the necessary requirements laid down in the blueprint. Standardized test writing needs all types of cares and considerations. Enough time has to be devoted to give thought regarding weightage to the contents and areas to be covered. In this step, we shall discuss the specific rules of constructing different types of test items. At this stage, we have to prepare number 1, the test items, number 2, the directions to test items, number 3, the directions for administration, number 4, the directions for scoring, and number 5, a question-wise analysis chart. Let's speak about each of the above elaborately. Number 1, preparation of test items. Preparation of test items is the most important task in the preparation step. Therefore, care must be taken in preparing a test item. Construction of test item is not so easy. It is the task of test specialists and experts. An experienced teacher who is sufficiently trained in test construction can prepare appropriate test items. There are certain rules and guidelines for constructions of test items. For this, one must have an access into all these guidelines and also an access into the taxonomy of objectives. In general, the test item must be clear, comprehensive, and free from ambiguity. The language of the item should be chosen that the content and not the form of the items determines the answer. The items which have hidden meaning should not be included. The statement of the items should be clear and not be haphazardly given from the books. All the items of a particular type should be placed together. The vocabulary used in the term should be simple enough to be understood by all. A regular sequence in the pattern of correct responses should be avoided. there may be more than one type of test items in the test. The test must be subjected to critical revision at intervals of time. Often, it will be desirable that in the test more items are included than the number which is accurately needed. In the preliminary draft, it is better if the double number of items which are needed are included. In the constructions of the test items, only those items should not be included which emphasize the memory or recognition. The items should be also chosen that the students learn the habit of correlating their knowledge with their real life. After the test items are framed, they must be arranged properly and assembled into a test. If different forms of test terms are being used, they should be preferably grouped form-wise. Moreover, easy items are to be given a place in the beginning, the items of average difficulty in the middle, and difficult items at the end. The test items may be arranged in order to expected difficulty. Of course, there are various ways of assembling the questions, and we may assemble the questions suiting to our purpose and convenience of interpretation. Number 2. Preparation of direction to test items. This is the most neglected aspect of the test construction. Generally, everybody gives attention to the constructions of the test items. So, the test makers don't attach directions with the test items. But the validity and reliability of the test items to a great extent depends upon the instructions for the test. N.E. Grandland has suggested that the test maker should provide clear-cut directions about the following. Number 1, the purpose of testing. Number 2, the time allowed for answering. Number 3, the basis of answering. Number 4, the procedure for recording answer. And number 5, the methods to deal with gauging. Sometimes the directions to test items are so ambiguous that the learners can't follow them, and as such he responds to the items in a manner which they think fit at that instant, or simply passes on the next item, leaving it unanswered. Due to lack of clarity of directions, the learners will respond differently at different times, which would lower the reliability of the test. Number 3. Preparation of directions for administration of test. A clear and detailed directions as to how the test is to be administered is to be provided. The conditions under which the test is to be administered, when the test is to be administered, whether it is the middle of the session or at the end of the session, etc., within what time limit it is to be administered, etc., are to be stated clearly. If the test has separate sections, time limits to cover each section be mentioned. The materials required, if any, for the test, such as audio cassette player, headphone, etc., must be mentioned. The directions must state clearly as to what precautions should be administrator take at the time of administration of the test. So, appropriate and clear directions for test administration must be prepared. Number 4. Preparation of directions for scoring. To facilitate objectivity in scoring, scoring keys are to be provided. Scoring key is a prepared list of answers to a given set of objective type questions. A scoring key is prepared by listing serially the key or right answers to each question against each item. For the short answer type question and essay type questions, marking schemes are to be prepared. Such scoring keys and marking schemes must be carefully prepared. They help as guides at the time of scoring the test and they ensure objectivity in scoring properly. Number 5. Preparation of a question-wise analysis chart. A question-wise analysis chart may be prepared in which every question is analyzed. This chart shows the content area that the question covers, the objectivity with specification that it intends to measure, its type, marks allotted to it, expected difficulty level, and time taken to answer it. This chart not only analyzes the items but also gives us a picture of coverage of contents, objectives, types of questions, and a coverage of different difficulty level, etc. Moreover, this gives us some idea about the total time to be taken for taking the test. This chart helps us to check whether the test has been prepared as per the blueprint or not. Viewers, that is the end of step 2 of test construction. Guys, in my next video, I will talk about step 3, trying out of the test 2 test construction in details. Thank you.